Hi there. This week it's October in 2024, and I forever before the pandemic used to always send out an email about breast health because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the US, but we're going to say it's all over the world too. And I just realized last week, because I don't know, the pandemic just threw a lot of things off for me, and I was like, I haven't done it in years now. So I am doing this video today. And if you've been with me for a while, you know my stuff is not scripted, it's not edited, it's pretty raw, I'm pretty organic, I don't have a script that I'm following. So bear with me. It's like I'm having a conversation with you in your living room, and I'm in my living room right now. It's my off, not hands-on day at the office. So if you don't know me, I am Dr. Arjun Khalsa. I'm a chiropractor in New Mexico, USA, and I've been practicing for over 25 years. And I am a chiropractor, as I just said, but I feel like everything about us and our life is about health. So even though we're going to be focusing on breast health this week, this really applies to everything in your life, because we can't, and this is something I feel like is really, really important, that our breasts as women, but also as men, because men are, male breast cancer is actually on the rise. So men, this is actually important for you too. So what's happened in our Western culture, and I feel like this is the fault of having to create diagnoses, is that we are compartmentalizing our health. So we either have an eye issue, or we have a nose issue, we have a breast issue, we have a leg issue, or a skin issue. In my mind, I'm always looking holistically. So as a chiropractor, I'm always looking at your nervous system, at my nervous system, and that's the root of everything. I just got off a healing call with one of my friends who's working on this work called havening. And we were talking about, I was saying, well, I just tried hormones, and that's actually making me so much worse. Like I just had a horrible hot flash right before I started this video because of the hormone. I was doing bioidenticals, which is not working so great for me. And we were just saying it's all about nervous system. So that to me is always upstream, and we have to get our nervous systems healthy, but then we've also got to look at different aspects of our lives too. Are we working emotionally, mentally, spiritually, nutritionally? Are we getting enough exercise? Are we detoxifying ourselves enough? So we're looking at all of these things. When we're looking at breast health, I'm looking at overall health, because a lot of things I'm going to be talking about with you today is overall health, is constant detoxifying, constantly making sure we're getting the right nutrition, making sure our gut is healthy, making sure our liver is detoxing properly, making sure we're getting movement into our breast tissue and around there in our lymph system. But when we help this, it helps everything in our entire bodies. So that's one point I really want to impress upon you, and just remembering that I'm talking about this, but you can apply it everywhere. So I know that's a new concept for some people, because we're so indoctrinated with, if we have a rash on our skin, we've got to treat the rash on our hand. And I'll talk about that another time. But even my dermatology friends said all skin health is about gut health. So, but again, I'm going to translate into, we have all breast health is about gut health also. Not everything, but we're going to go into some of these. So first of all, I want to acknowledge, if you have had breast cancer, if you're dealing with it now, if you have had a mastectomy, I just want to honor you and know that you have gone through so much. And I know this is, for most of you, people that I come in contact with in my practice, it's an ongoing practice. I'm going to say process. I don't want to say battle, because they use this word battle a lot with cancer. I don't want to say battling, because one of the things we really want to work on is bringing softness and care and love into our beings. And when we're battling something or we're fighting something, it's like it's a war. And I don't want to use that verbiage. I think it's important to be soft with ourselves and know that, especially if you've gone through this or you're in the middle of it now, just know you've done everything you can possibly do, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing you've done improperly. And so when I'm sharing all these things with all of you, I just want to acknowledge that you're doing awesome. And all these things that I'm going to be sharing with you today, you can continue to implement these in your life, wherever you are in your practice and your process. And if you are going through something heavy, please reach out and email me. I don't check these YouTube comments a whole lot. I just message a bunch of people from 8 years ago. So please just know that there's help, and there's a lot of holistic help, and I've got some support for you. So reach out if you need to, email me, and we can either, we'll set something up. If you're not my patient, we'll set something up and we'll work on it. So I wanted to dive into these 10 things that I absolutely love to do to help support your immune system, your detoxification system, and your nutritional system. And so I'm going to back up a little bit. So a lot of things in Chinese medicine, they say when our liver is congested, when we're not able to filter blood. So a little anatomy lesson here. So our liver is like a big filter, and it's filtering out all of the hormones, all of the toxins that come in, and toxins can be from a new furniture piece that has all that off-gassing. It can be from our new car that definitely, some of us like that new car smell, but it's a lot of toxins. So our liver is processing that. We have chemicals in our food. We're taking pharmaceuticals. We drink alcohol. We drink coffee. We have stress. So all those things need to filter through our liver. All of our blood goes through there. And I think of the liver as a big sieve, like when you're playing in the sand with your kids and you put the sand and it has those little holes in it, but when it gets filled up with too many rocks, the sand can't get through anymore. So I think of our liver as being like that. So if we have a liver that's been too congested with too many toxins over the years, it gets too full, so it can no longer filter out hormones, toxins, chemicals, things that are coming in. So after a while, and then that just starts getting into our bloodstream. And in Chinese medicine, they call it the blood being hot. So when the blood is hot, it's inflamed, it's icky, and it's sludgy, and it's heavy. And so we want to clean the liver out. So one of the first things I always like to have people do, one is make sure you're drinking water. Drink lemon in the morning, lemon water. That helps clear out your liver. And if you go into my email, which I will be posting, it'll be on my website also soon, go and I have recipes. I have links to ginger lemon tea. They're in my YouTube videos also, ginger lemon tea, which is great for detoxifying the liver. And the other thing about that is that liver makes your bile, and your gallbladder holds the bile in there for when we have fats, and then it squirts it out and it breaks down the fats. So if people have gallbladder issues, or if you've had gallbladder removed, then that a lot of times that bile, when that liver gets really overworked, it gets sludgy. And so that bile gets sludgy, and that's where people get gallstones, and then they get gallbladder issues. So that ginger lemon tea and any lemon water really helps to clear out the liver. The other things I want to mention, dandelion is great, milk thistle is great, carrots and beets. Some of us hate beets, and some people love them, but when you steam those, they really help detoxify the liver also. So those are some foods and some supplement support. There's also plenty of supplement support. If you go to fullscript.com, and I'll have the link in my YouTube in the caption here. If you go to Fullscript, you can order in there, and there's lots of liver detoxifying herbs and supplements also, which I think are really important. Things you want to stay away from, I've already mentioned before, but fried foods, caffeine, alcohol, what else did I just say? Oh, sodas. All those things are gonna create more toxicity and inflammation in your liver. So really, really important to get that liver broken down. The other thing is hormones. So with women especially, we tend to get, especially as we get older, we have more estrogen and less progesterone. And many types of cancers, like breast cancer, can be estrogen fed. So if we have too much in our system, then it can actually feed the cancer cells in there. So we're going to talk a little bit more about hormones in just a minute, but for now, liver is really, really important for breast health and really all body health. So keep that in mind. The next thing I really like to talk to people about is breathing. And I know I've talked about this ad nauseum, and if you've been following me for a while, you're going to be like, oh my God, Arjun, I've heard this a million times. But even when I'm writing to you all, I inspire myself to start breathing again. So I'm talking about deep, loud, guttural breathing. So inhaling, really using that diaphragm, pulling the air in, and exhaling. And I know this is so simple, but it does a few different things. I'm just going to mention a couple. One, it regulates your nervous system. So it brings that fight or flight system and the rest and digest into balance. And when you have both of those balanced, it helps your nervous system function better. Another reason why I keep mentioning your nervous system is because when your nervous system is really overly functioning, it stimulates your immune system. And we don't want your immune system overworking. We want it working only when it needs it. And it's going to be low level constantly. It's like little, I know I said I'm not talking about any wars, but I always think about this. It's like little soldiers going out, and if they see a virus or a bacteria or fungus, it's taking care of that, and it's getting rid of those things on a daily, hour by hour, minute by minute basis. But when we have a nervous system that's overwrought, when it's dysregulated, then the immune system's also dysregulated. So it's going to be going and going and going all the time. So when something big comes along, we have cancer cells constantly running through our bodies. And when they get out of whack, it's because the environment's correct for them to grow. So when our immune system's working constantly on things that are not really important, when the important things come along, our body cannot deal with them. So I would highly recommend breathing. And soldiers, again, talking about soldiers, there's some awesome things in there about military. I love it. But soldiers do that box breathing, inhaling 4, holding 4, exhaling 4, and then holding it out for 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and holding it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. That within 1 or 2 breaths, your nervous system's going to start decompressing. I know that. Okay, number 3, important thing to do is move. So if you can get any kind of aerobic exercise, running, jogging, swimming, biking, those are all great because they move your lymph. Any kind of dancing, tennis, soccer, anything like that, it's going to be amazing. If those things are too hard or you can't do it, even just walking or jumping up and down, whatever it is. I have some patients who can't even walk because they're in so much pain. They've got different things going on. So I always tell them whatever you can move. If it's a hand, a wrist, rolling your neck, moving your shoulders, whatever it is, get that lymph moving, especially this one is awesome for getting all this lymph moving in here because we want all this to be moving. Okay, so movement. Next thing is lymphatic drainage therapy. Now I have someone in Santa Fe that I've been going to for years. She uses this machine called the LymphStar machine, which I love. I have not found anyone in Albuquerque who does it. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you know someone who does the LymphStar machine, let me know. There's a lot of manual lymph therapy out there. And I know a lot of my ladies who've had mastectomies, they get the manual lymph therapy done because there's a lot of swelling that happens down in arms and down here because those lymph channels have been cut. So if you've already had a mastectomy, make sure you're getting lymphatic drainage therapy. It's really important. I do the cranial sacral work with people and that helps amazingly too. And I like this a little bit more for that. I have fibrocystic breasts and the LymphStar is what really, really helped me because I used to get really bad pain in my breasts. And while, on a mammogram, they say it's fine, it gets really dense, but I just feel like that's not a good thing. So I love using that LymphStar machine and any kind of lymphatic drainage therapy you can get. I'm going to do a couple little exercises with you in just a second. I want to just show you a couple things that I really, really like. So we did breath, we've talked about movement, we talked about lymphatic drainage therapy, we've talked about liver detoxification. Now I want to mention food, and I mention food a lot. Specifically this time around, I'm talking about organic food. So food that has been grown without pesticides. In Europe, y'all don't really have to worry about this because I don't think they have a lot of pesticides in Europe. They use, apparently, there's 10,000 allowed in the US, only 700 allowed in Europe, which I think that's still a lot, but 10,000 when you put it in that context is so much worse. So always get as much as you can, get rid of those pesticides. We can't control everything in our environments, but there's some things that we can control. And one of the things I really do is buy organic whenever I can. And when I go to the farmer's market, they're almost always organic. When I go to Whole Foods or the co-op or whatever it is, I get organic because I don't want those extra pesticides. There's a lot of heavy metals in there. I do not want that. Heavy metals will also ignite our, I just lost my train of thought, our immune system. So when we have heavy metals in our system, our immune system's constantly going. So again, when we have our immune system going on things that aren't that important, when something's really important, it doesn't know how to shut itself off, or it can't rise to the occasion, basically. So we want to make sure we are eating organic as much as possible. I'm just checking my notes here that I got everything. The other thing is cold showers. So some of you are like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But very cool. Wim Hof, he's done a lot. There's been so much more out there in these past few years. When I first put this blog out, probably 10, 15 years ago, I think people were like, what the heck? And some of you might still be, what the heck? But cold showers are fabulous for building your immune system and for flushing out your lymphatic system. So I love doing those. I actually haven't been doing them lately, but I'm inspiring myself to do them again. So cold showers, I have a post on that in my email and my website. So you can also go there, and I have a whole how to exactly do that. So I'm not going to go into that right now, but just want to introduce the concept to you. Laughing, one of my all-time favorite things to do. When we laugh, it stimulates endorphins. Endorphins are like the good feeling. You know, when you go shop or you're with someone you're newly in love with, or you see your kids or whatever it is that makes you happy and feel those warm fuzzies, laughter is that thing. And I kind of force myself, I don't really force myself, but sometimes I think something's a little bit funny, but I'll push myself just a little bit more just to get a good belly laugh in there. And there's clubs around the world where they do laughing clubs, and they just sit around and laugh for an hour. And there's a reason why. So I always feel like if we're in doom and gloom or feeling worried or scared or stressed, when we laugh, it takes us out of that nervous system response of feeling afraid or anxious. And when we're laughing, like everything feels better, right? So make sure you're laughing every day. And if you can do it several times a day, that's even better. But if you can just start with once. And I love Will Ferrell. If y'all have been following along with me, I reference him a lot. I think he's amazing. And there's so many other funny people, but I'll just pop up a good YouTube Will Ferrell something or other, and it just always makes me laugh, and it breaks whatever tension I've been having. And just love you, Will. You're my man. Thank you. And then I wanted to mention also the other thing is decrease stress. So if you haven't gotten it so far, everything I've been mentioning today is about decreasing stress levels. Because stress decreases our immune system, decreases our adrenaline, decreases our cortisol, and we need all these things to help heal. And if we're out of balance with how much we're pushing and stressing and hustling, our bodies cannot heal. As much as, you know, if we take antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, pain relievers, whatever it is, if we are stressed, we're just going to constantly be popping out cortisol. And eventually that cortisol level is going to go down, and it's going to affect our mood. It's going to affect our pain levels. All those old injuries that we had when people are like, oh, I've never had neck pain in my life, and now I'm 50 and all of a sudden I'm having neck pain. It's usually because those cortisol levels were higher and could handle things. And as we get older, we cannot handle things. So our immune system's decreasing. So work on stress. I've got tons of different ways to work on that. The other thing is checking your hormones. So this is not my lane, dealing with hormones, because they are so nuanced. And I'm actually in the middle of a program right now, which I'm going to quit, because every hormone test I take over the past several years always says my estrogen's high, my progesterone's low, and people put me on progesterone and it does not go well. And this is the worst. Like I don't get hot flashes, and I started having them. So be careful with this, but I would highly recommend getting your hormones checked, because especially if you've got breast cancer in your family, you want to make sure you're not too high in estrogen. And estrogens are contained in plastics. They're in all those linings of those cans, makeup, all these things. If we're not getting like healthy, clean makeup, we get it from there, and just all the toxins. So our bodies end up with way too much estrogen, and that can create a whole lot of other issues, which I won't go into right now because we're focusing on the breast health at the moment. But go to your doctor, or a naturopath or whoever it is, get a saliva test and check your cortisol levels, your estrogen levels, your DHE levels, and your progesterone. Those are really, really important. And then if your estrogen's high, if they can work with you, great. And I'm not going to give recommendations on that because, again, everybody's so individual, and remember that too. Everybody is so individualized, and it's very important to make sure you get what you need, not what the general population needs. Like, I'm one of those people who this is not working for me. Everybody else says progesterone helps them sleep at night and they're feeling so great. I'm the opposite. It makes me sleep terrible. I'm having to recalibrate again. I'm again having hot flashes. I'm having anxiety. It's terrible for me, but I know my baseline, so I know that's not how I normally am, so I'm working on that. So that is everything. The other thing I'm talking about in here is keeping your immune system vital. And I'll put the link again to Full Script in there, which I think is also really important. I really love adrenal support for people. I love B complex. I love vitamin D. I love vitamin C, and I love magnesium. All of those things help build your immune system. if you haven't been with me for very long, you're gonna hear me all the time talking about adrenals. There are little glands that sit on top of our kidneys. I've got a few posts about them in my website if you want to take a look. And there are fight or flight glands. So if we have too much fight or flight, we have too many dogs barking, arguing with people, crummy bosses, stressful work, road rage, things like that, it decreases our adrenal function. Our adrenals they're everything, and we need them to survive, really, to keep our energy up, to keep anxiety levels low, to keep our immune systems functioning well. So I've got a whole list in my email of the different supplements, and if you go to my full script page, which again, I'll put the link in here, there's a whole protocol in there, and you get 15% off, free shipping. It helps me a little bit because I get, a little bit of commission from all that, which I super, super appreciate, because a lot of this stuff I just do for free because I want y'all to know the information. I think it's really important to get it out there, and it's nice to get a little bit of change back too. So thank you so much on that. So I want to take a minute and show you a couple different things I do as part of my morning routine. And I'm going to try to fix my little microphone because it has not been, actually I'm just going to sit here and do it because it's easier. I thought I was going to stand up, but I'm going to do it sitting. So I'm just going to move this here. So hopefully y'all can still hear me. I'm going to put this hopefully in a place where you can still hear okay. So the first thing I do every morning, so I take the flat of my hand, I go to just under my clavicle, my collarbones, and just where my navel is, and I rub. This is in Chinese medicine, this is called kidney 27. So this is a switching point for people. So if we get too overstressed, we have too much pressure, if you're kind of feeling out of sorts, I just do this for maybe like 30 seconds to a minute every morning. And just do long, deep breathing. And even when I'm muscle testing my patients and something doesn't seem quite right, I do this point. I always check this and see, and a lot of times people are just off. So then you can stop there, deep breath. And then I go to my pubic bone, which is about here, and I'm gonna go up, and I'm gonna go all the way up to my chin. And I'm gonna do that 3 times. So in Chinese medicine, this is your central meridian. I love this one because if this energy, and you want to go from bottom to top, not the other way around because you'll be switching everything off. But I love this one because when I do this, it helps support the central meridian and it helps support all the other energy centers in the body. So doing this one in the morning helps get everything set up. And in my Touch for Health book, it always said like zipping up. So I think I'm zipping myself up. I'm getting ready for the day. So we've got that one. The next thing I really love to do is, this is lymphatic drainage therapy I do for myself every morning. So go across my shoulder blade. So there's a big lymph channel right in here. And you only need to use about 5 grams of pressure. Like whatever pressure you put on your eye is how much you use here. The lymph needs very, very little to stimulate. It's very, very soothing. So I do that maybe 5 to 6 strokes. Then I go down my arms, another big lymph chain down here. I'm just really nurturing myself here. So just going down, and then I go out across the top of my breast here and rubbing. So everything that if you can tell, is mostly going toward this right here. And this is a big lymph chain. When women have, when they take out the lymph, they're taking this out right here. So, and that, I don't know the answer to that question. So if you've had a mastectomy, check with your doctor on this, or someone who does lymphatic drainage therapy. They should know this. And the next one's coming up alongside my breast and here. So again, just 4 to 6 strokes. And the last one is across my breast. I go across here and I get all areas underneath, right in there. So then I do it on the opposite side now. And you can tell I'm going actually from my shoulder all the way toward this lymph chain, just under my sternum. So doing that in there, down here, across the top of my breast, up, and then across here. So it takes me about 3 minutes, all 3 of those exercises. I love those. And in the mornings, if I have time, I'll do a cold shower. So I've got everything, all my lymph moving. Then I'll go out for a walk. I do some yoga. I drink my water first thing in the morning. I'll have my herbal tea to get things moving. I take my supplements. And it's a lot, people. And I just want to acknowledge it's a lot. I'm not saying this is like some easy, like I have all this time. Sometimes I don't get to do everything. But I really try. That's my intention. But I also, the biggest thing is to be kind and loving to yourself. So if you can't do anything else, just calm, just do this, just love yourself, give yourself lots of nurturing, lots of love. That's the biggest thing. And these breaths, they're important. I mean, they're life givers and they're part of who we are. And they've been over sexualized in our country, and I feel like going back to a place of loving yourself, loving them, bring your energy into your heart center is really, really important instead of shunting it away. Because a lot of times when we're overthinking or we're worried or we're stressed, all of our energy is going here, and bringing it back here to your heart center is really, really important. And just love yourself, because you're awesome. And the more you can love yourself, I always feel like everything we're doing, it creates circles, orbits going out into the rest of the world too. So healing begins with you. And again, whatever you can do to start, do that, and don't worry about the rest. Thank you for tuning in with me, and let me know how you're doing with all this, okay? Lots of love to you. Bye.